shall deceive. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war a night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sounds of arms, fierce morality. Nightfall, the rain, and the silence leads. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war a night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Sail war. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seer podcast for Week 3 games in Valhalla Esports. I'm joined tonight by Deity and Boo Arcana. How are you two doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good.
Having a good time. How are you?
I'm great. I see Bulgaria's banning random people in the chat. You know, you gotta watch out for that, man. But tossed this together, so it's a little bit later. I didn't have all my scenes set up, but we're gonna go through the games from Week 2, look ahead to Week 3 quickly, and just talk about thoughts from the games that happened and what we think will happen coming up. I don't have the team lineups screened, so we're just going to jump into the draft of Game 1 in Week 2, which was Titan Gaming Mox against Battle of the Bulk. This was the Game 1 draft, and they actually had for Game 1, new record. They had Jadu subbing out for Flimsy Fence, and then Fence got back for games 2 and 3. For Game 1, Titan Games and Mox took the blue side. Actually, we took the red side. We won the coin toss. But they banned away the Brand from Graminut, who was filling in for Bulgaria in the mid lane for Battle of the Bulg. Eve from Keanu, and Milio from Jinao. We banned away.
Was it Battle of the Nut?
Battle
after,
of the Nut.
Yeah, after Bulg left.
I guess, yeah, that'd be true. I didn't think about that. Whoever fills in for mid lane is who we're fighting for every week. We banned away the Zac from Vixper. I didn't want to see that big tanky boy, and took out Jadu's Irelia and Jace. And then they...
Solid ban.
Yeah, don't want to see that man on those champs. That's true, Bulg. You are the manager of our team. Titan Gaming prioed the Jinx pick. We answered with a Senna Seraphine. It had worked well for us in week 1, so we said, hey, why don't we run it back game 1 this week since it's up? They grabbed the Lulu Vi, so they had a nice Enchanter support to get that Jinx to late game. And we grabbed Keanu's Elise to round out the first round pick. Then they took out the Malzahar and Fiora from us. The Fiora, I think, was just a ban since they wanted to pick up the Ornn. And then we took out the Kali and the Gangplank. And they grabbed that Ornn, grabbed a Yone for themselves, and we got the Morgana for mid lane and Gwen up in the top lane. How you guys feel about these drafts since you didn't see this game, so you don't have the spoilers?
I think you guys got a lot of AP going for you.
We do
That's
have a
what
lot
I
of
think.
AP. Janao said, oh great, I'm the only AD this game.
Yeah, I mean, you got see. I would say when they have an Ornn on their team, especially, it is going to be very hard for you guys to actually do damage when that Ornn has so much magic resist towards the end of the game. I mean, the Gwen is like you got some true damage in there, but Elise, Morgana, Seraphine are not doing any damage to that man, and Senna is not going to do any damage to him until she gets like 4 items. So yeah, I think it's a rough draft or rough draft for you guys in terms of just like options. Like I feel like if you don't get way ahead of that Ornn early game, it's just very hard to play.
Fair. What about you, Boot?
Yeah, I was thinking for a red team, they gotta get the lead early and close out the game as soon as possible. Because if they let that orange scale, especially because it's Jadoo, you're just gonna have a bad time late game, and it's gonna get harder to win it.
Jadoo was mid for them this game,
Jadoo's-
so Jadoo
yeah,
was
he's
on
Yone.
the Yone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought he was the top laner for Flimsy.
Flimsy's their
Mm.
mid laner.
Damn, I guess I just don't know anything. Never mind.
It's all good. But we'll jump
They
to the
got
post game.
Yeah, they got Lima in top lane, I believe.
This
Or no,
one,
Hayden. Hayden, not Lima.
yeah.
Hayden.
This is one of those
Hayden,
games you
who-
dodge in solo queue.
They did pick up the victory over us in game 1. Hayden did a good job. The Gwen does well against the Ornn in a solo 1v1 lineup, but Ornn does provide a lot as far as team fight with the ultimate and a lot of CC. Jadoo and Arma both got fairly fed. Arma picked up a couple shutdowns around the mid game and kind of became a monster from that point onward, where it was very hard for us to jump on him. And yeah, kind of we had that early lead we wanted, but there were a couple pickoffs that gave them the goal to come back, and then they shut it out pretty cleanly from there. But yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely,
it's like the two
shout out-
people you don't want to get fed got fed and just
Yeah.
ran with it.
They did a good job of getting kills in the right place, and I know Hayden recently had to step down due to work constraints, I believe, but did play very well in this game and the series overall. Knew his job, said, I'm Ornn, I'm just gonna farm up in lane, not fight, and you see he had that 0-2 and 4, just said, I'm not gonna fight the Gwen, I'm gonna be useful in team fights, and played it very well. But we'll jump to the Game 2 draft for this series. This time we opted to grab Roadside once again. Oh wait, this is the same draft. One sec.
I'm like, damn, the salty run back.
Very salty run back.
Pretty much.
Oh, I saved the same one twice. Alright, one sec, I'll grab the right one. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm just gonna
Alright,
ignore
so-
Patty talking shit in the chat. Especially considering he wasn't here for his team's games, so
True.
I don't want to hear it from
Who's their
him.
replacement? Who's their replacement top laner?
There we go.
That's a good question.
Alright, this is the real Game 2 draft. As far as
Ah.
Titan Gaming Mocks, I don't think they've picked one yet. I think they were supposed to try someone out Saturday. So they're either going to have a new top laner or just be subbing for this week.
I think he
Gotcha.
said if whoever they have on Saturday doesn't work out, then yes, they would have a sub.
Right. So hopefully they have a full-time one tomorrow, or they'll be subbing for this week and hopefully find one for full-time next week. This time, Titan Gaming Smock did a good job picking their champions, and definitely picked Aphelios, so I didn't have to write it in afterwards. But as far as bans, very similar. Brand, Milio, Ev, again, I think that was the same as round one. This time, since Fence was back instead of Jadu, we took out his Azir and Asol, and we continued to ban out the Zac. Didn't want to have to deal with that champion. After the Aphelios, we gave the Jinx over to Tactic, so we would have a more hyper carry on our side, and picked up Diana for stealing the jungle. They grabbed the Udyr jungle and the Janna support. And we rounded out.
They got Udyr.
We rounded out with
You
the
guys-
Malzahar for Graminut.
You guys are the team that loves triple magic damage threat.
Gotta watch out for him. This time I wasn't exactly planning on it, but we'll get there in the draft.
yeah.
Then they banned away the Fiora once again and the Blitzcrank, and we took out Aurelia again and took out the Ornn. Hayden played very well on that, and Ornn provides a ton of team fights and also all the ornaments, so just passive value to your team once you get to late game. Fence grabbed the Kassadin, and they picked up the Alawi for top. We had the Thresh for our support, and since I saw I was against an Alawi, I said I'd go Mordekaiser. The ultimate interaction makes that very favorable for Mordekaiser, as long as you hold your ult till the Alawi has ulted.
Because if she ults first, her tentacles don't go to the Shadow Realm, right?
Exactly.
No.
So if you wait
The
until
ult-
Alawi ults, and right as she ults, you ult her, then you basically don't get slammed by the ultimate.
Basically, the interaction is if you play Alawi into Mordekaiser, you have to pay 1,300 gold for QSS, or you can't play.
The good
Yeah,
old
but then you're
QSS.
also 1,300 behind from buying the QSS.
Oh yeah,
and
no,
actual
oh yeah,
damage.
no, it's yeah, no, it's not great. If the Alawi gets ahead early, it's manageable because the QSS still gives good magic resist against Mordekaiser.
Yeah,
But
casualties are week 2 games.
yep. But yeah, it's definitely it's like the Alawi has to pay QSS tax or can't play.
Yeah, and the other way you can do it, if you win pre-6, you can get far enough ahead where you can force them to ult you first, and then you can ult as Alawi. But then you basically have to be winning, like, fairly hard.
Yeah.
Because it's basically then the chicken game between who's gonna ult first. But yeah, how you guys
It's
feeling about
whoever
these
ults
drafts?
first loses. I don't think it's this draft I like better than your last guy's draft because at least you have like Jinx who, if Jinx gets ahead, then you know there's still going to be a lot of physical damage coming out just from her alone. Where before the Senna is like it's not as much of a hyper carry as Jinx is, so I think that's better. I do still not love all the magic resist because you're putting a lot of eggs into the Jinx basket, which if bot lane goes south for them, then it's tough because nobody can kill the Alawi. But I think overall I like both drafts decently. I think you guys have a really good team fight comp, which is good. They have more of like a side laner comp with Cast and Alawi.
For sure. Any additional thoughts, Boot? Alright. And then we'll jump at the post game. This one we did pick up, so it went to a 3-game series. I'm very comfortable in the Alawi Mord matchup, so I got to have a good time this game. Tactic got very big. As you said, we had a very good team fight comp. Essentially, if we could catch Flimsy or Arma we would just all in them, or if Flimsy was trying to dive in to kill the Jinx, we would save the Mal's ult to hold him in place. So yeah, very much feeling for tactic, and winning through that mid to late game team fight.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of buttons to like shut down the Cassidon from getting too big. You have the Maus ult and you have the Mordekaiser ult, so
Yeah,
you guys have a lot of cock blocks for the people trying to get on the Jinx. Excuse my French, but yeah, I mean overall it's solid. It's a solid play for the or like block for the carry kind of team comp.
right. Janelle and tactic are both right. We just know we can go with the 180 threat because when will our bot lane ever go negative? Come on now.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, took us into game 3, so we'll hop into that draft. This time, Gaming Max took the red side. Again, did a great job picking all their champions. Appreciate it. But we took out same 3 first bands: Azir, Aesol, Zek. They took out the Malzahar in the first round this time. Took out the Jinx also in the Milio. So we first picked that Thresh. We really liked having the Thresh on the team. Is able to set up a lot of plays and also save a lot of picks potential with the Lantern. They grabbed the Ezreal Karma for the bot lane. Just very pokey bot lane, so we answered with the Varus to have a little more hyper carry in the bot and also match the poke enough and grab Diana once again. Steel was feeling the Diana that night. And they grabbed the Jarvan. This time, since they had the counter, we took out the Alawi and the Aurelia. They took out the Mord and the Brand. Basically, I took out Alawi after the Mord was banned, so I was like, let's just not deal with that when I don't have the champ I want to do it. Then we grabbed Galio and Camille, and they grabbed Cassiopeia and Set.
You guys did it. You picked an AD top laner. Let's
We
freaking
did
go.
it. We have
That's hype.
2 AD champions.
Yeah, that's hype. Dual threat.
And anyone who was around final season of Press R, they know I like Camille a lot, so it's fun to get to pull out this champion once again. Still not as OP as she was back then, but still quite strong.
Yeah, I mean, I do like your guys' team comp quite a bit. You guys have a lot of go buttons that can help the Galio initiate, like with the Diana or with the Camille, are really good.
Yeah,
Varus is good at CCing whoever you guys lock up in the initial combo, just keeping them there. So yeah, I mean, really good comp from you guys. I think it's very hard for them to play. I think they kind of should have just picked like a more kite back champion, like if they had maybe like a Kindred, I don't know, on instead of like a Jarvan or something just to help kite back a bit more with the Ezreal Karma theming.
Camille's very on brand.
Probably, yeah.
You don't know the salt. What do you mean? But yeah, we'll jump into the score screen. And Battle of the Bulg was able to pull it out. We got this game 3 victory. A very close 2-1 in this series. Definitely could have gone either way within all the games. This one, really, our Wombo in the mid game started working really well. Janelle was hitting a lot of really good hooks. I was following up with an E ultimate if it was basically Flimsy. We were trying to kill Flimsy at the start of every fight by the mid game. So it'd be a hook or IDN and stun into an ultimate into the Galio ult. So by the time all the CC was done, we'd have Camille almost dead, if not dead. Or Cassio dead, if not dead.
What I'm gathering is that Jadu is the problem. Game 1, you guys couldn't beat him.
True.
Disrespectful.
It was Jadu and also our
It's not disrespectful. It's just
draft.
saying Jadu's good. What do you mean?
Oh, I heard that backwards then.
No, I said Jadu was the problem because they lost that game, so he was he just carried them.
Right. Jadu OP. Everybody watch out for that, man.
True.
But yeah, very well played to Titan Gaming Max. As I said, guys definitely could have taken that series, but it was a fun one. And with that, we'll jump into the second series, which was Titan's Wrath versus Velocity Gaming. Got these very zoomed in
Stop it, Tactic. I
champions
see
here.
you in the chat.
Shadu.
I hate it so much.
Yes, Bentage was correct. He called that series correctly. Well done, Bentage. This game, Titan's Wrath was on the blue side for game one. Looks like they banned away 3 junglers, took out the Zac, Amumu, and, well, 2 junglers and a top laner. Although, you're on Velocity, right? Casual, because I know Casual plays Sion in the jungle sometimes. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different team. But took out 3 beefy boys. Velocity took out Alawi, Seraphine, and Senna, and picked up the.
Yes, Casual is on Velocity.
So I'm gonna call it 3 jungle bands, you know. And then Titan's Wrath picking up the Shaco, denying it from Casual.
Yep.
Velocity got a Caitlyn and an Ezreal, the double ADC pick, spicy. And then the Sivir Morgana from Titans and the Emilio for Velocity. Then taking out the Fiora set and the Viego Gragas. Velocity finished it up with the Evelyn and the Cho'Gath, so saying, if you're going to have Invis, I'm going to have Invis too. And then Ornn and Wukong outside Titan's Wrath.
I can't believe Keanu wasn't the first one to play Evelyn. You guys gotta let the man play as Evelyn.
We've had a couple chances where he could, but he's very cognizant of Evelyn being able to be counterpicked. So, like in this game, it was a final pick for Velocity. So if it's something where he likes it in the team comp, we'll definitely pull it out. But it's not gonna be one we throw out all willy nilly.
I see. Keeping it close to the chest.
That's right. But in this game, it's pretty interesting. Both teams kind of have one of those invis junglers who it's very annoying to deal with. Also,
Actually, the Shaco support.
That was a Shaco support. Okay.
Yep.
Then it was the Wukong jungle.
Yeah, the
very
Wukong,
solid
Wukong
jungler.
jungle.
And who went mid? Was it Ezreal or Caitlyn?
It was Ezreal.
Okay.
Ezreal mid.
It's also interesting.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting.
Probably one of the most chaotic drafts I have seen in a minute.
I can appreciate some chaos in the draft. Any thoughts before we look at the results?
I mean, they got the double spell shield going, so it's pretty decent for but I mean, I don't know. I think Velocity has a big lack of CC on their comp, or reliable CC. So I think their comp is kind of hard to execute. Whereas Titan's Wrath have quite a lot of CC and a lot of go buttons. So they have Sivir ult, Morgana ult, Ornn ult, Wukong ult. So I mean, I think Velocity's draft is very solo queue, and it's very hard for them to actually win unless they just win 2 out of 3 of their lanes, or the Evelyn just gets so ahead. But even when the Evelyn gets ahead, it's you have double spell shield on Sivir and Morgana, so it's really hard to execute the targets on Evelyn. So yeah, I think Velocity just has a doom draft, TBH.
Let's see how it went. And looks like it played out roughly the way you're saying. Plebs did get very fed on that Evelyn. And game went to 40 minutes, so it wasn't a stomp necessarily either way.
Yeah.
But I'd agree probably having the better team fight go buttons as far as just a Wukong ult and Ornn ult being able to hit the CC easily probably helped Titan's Wrath pull out this game 1 victory.
Yeah, I just think I think execution and easy to execute comps generally are more favored in this kind of league.
I do.
So definitely having more go buttons is like recipe for probably a higher success rate.
I do appreciate the support, quote unquote, Shaco with the essentially full lethality build.
Oh yeah, he went full solo queue. He said, "I'm the carry. Move over, KB."
It's me
It's
Very
now.
loose quotes on that support, by the way. No flash,
like
just ignite, exhaust.
Critter said, "I
That's
signed up to be
toxic.
the
Wow.
I signed up to be the carry, and I'm gonna be the carry."
Yeah,
Said you can
looks.
be support. He said, "Sever, you can speed me up. I'm the carry."
But now we'll jump into game 2.
Critter's got a point. They can't do damage if they're dead.
Neither can you, Critter. Neither can you.
The greatest form of CC is death. This time
Give him the
Velocity
gray
was on
screen
blue side,
simulator.
Titan's Wrath on red side. Velocity again taking out Alawi. Took out the Ornn and Seraphine. Titans took out the Shaco since this time they had first pick, and also the Amumu and Zac into Velocity. They first picked that Scion, which looks like it was the Scion jungle. Titans grabbed Senna and Trundle. That was a Trundle jungle, it looks like.
Uncle Trunkle.
A pretty good pick into Scion just because he's going to have so much health and tank stats. Good ultimate target off the bat. Ezreal Karma for the bot lane. And then Ziggs, who looks like went mid for Titans. Titans then took out Caitlyn Theo, Velocity Cho Mord. Velocity picked up Vladimir and Yasuo, and Titans got Jin and Maokai. So for this one, kind of a lot of carries again, once again on side of Velocity. Just have the Scion there to kind of frontline and have the easiest time setting up fights. Yasuo, if you get a knock-up, can jump in, but only really has set up from the Scion in this comp. As far as Titans, they got a good ult target to melt the Scion whenever team fights happen, whenever Trundle ults them. They have the Maokai to help set up team fights. And again, the double ADC. They like that double ADC.
I mean, the way I look at this comp is, if the Vlad is to get ahead in this game, it is very, very hard for Titan's Wrath to do anything against him. They really only have the Maokai to like assist with the CCing, and you got Senna, Ziggs, Jin, all squishy targets for him to pop. So if Vlad does get ahead this game, then it's really hard for Titan's Wrath to play. But I also think that if Vladimir gets behind, it's very hard for Velocity to play. So I think a lot is on the Vladimir shoulders on either getting ahead or getting behind.
Yeah, I agree. It's one where if it goes super late, if you have a Vladimir and a Yasuo, then yeah, they're gonna deal a shitload of damage, but you gotta get there. But let's see how it went. And Benton said specifically to look at the mid matchup for this one. He said he's really proud of it. So
Oh yeah, he
check
said
that
he went
out.
hard in the paint on the mid matchup.
Here we go.
That he did. He did go hard on the mid. Let's see, Yasuo reaches 10 death power spike.
Get the power spike.
About
That's
to
good to
do
go.
that.
Titans Wrath picking up game number 2, so picking up this series. Well played to them. I was like 6-6 and 11 is not even that bad. Why are you worried about it, Vintage?
I mean,
He's
maybe
mad
he
he was the support and not the mid laner.
he's mad because Yasuo had more gold than him.
True.
So
I mean, all Bentage had to do was do the 10 death power spike. You had to die 4 more times.
I was
okay.
0-6. Did you have a tough time against the Yasuo Vintage?
I was 0-6. Yeah, but you brought it back to 6-6. That's pretty good. Come on now.
Yeah, but Vintage, if you didn't say that, we wouldn't have known.
Exactly.
You like we would have just thought, oh, Vintage went 6-6 and 11. He did pretty good.
Critters got the right mentality. You started 0-6, but you ended 6-0.
Yeah,
looks like
you were
Delicious
just
did
scaling.
a good job in the top lane, keeping Lima from getting too big on the Vladimir as well. And that Trundle popped off like a madman, so Well played,
Yeah.
Boomstick.
I would have. Well, I mean, I know they can't lane swap, but I mean, putting the Vlad mid and putting the Yasuo top might have been better for them because Vladimir really can't do much against a tree man.
Yeah,
mean,
it's
that
one
kind of
where
a-
5 minutes
if
is a swap.
it's one where if you share champions, you can do the lane swap without actually swapping and just swap champions.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they just like put that in, yeah, you can lane swap eventually,
Eventually.
but then they can also lane swap with you, and then
Right. Yeah, the constraints of the league potentially holding them back, but it's just how it is
tough.
sometimes. Now
Yeah, no
jumping
shenanigans in this league.
into game 3, which was NRO versus H2O.
There's always shenanigans in this league. Where have you been?
Knee,
Always.
Nico knee.
Oh yes, okay, I love the new Nico rework. It's literally my favorite.
Oh yeah.
It's
You would like the Nico
it's
rework.
so top tier, dude. You can turn into a Jin Lotus. Did you know that? I learned that last night, and it
You could turn
was
into Jarvan flag.
you can turn into really.
He can turn into an
Yeah,
elite spider.
yeah, you can
Oh,
turn
it's
into.
so good.
D, do you want to run through this drift?
Yeah. So first, B1 they picked up Zeri. They banned let's see, Shyvana, Lilia, and Zaya. So they're targeting Kid Buu and the 80 carry, who I'm blanking on at the moment. Is that is there 80 carry?
One sec.
Their 80 carry is Nithros, so they were targeting
Nithros.
Nithros's Zaya. Okay, and then so it looks like there's a triple jungle ban for wait, who jungled for H2O that week? H2O's got a different
I'll
roster
back
every
up for
week.
you.
It's hard to
Uh,
keep.
For
Akali's
H2O, it
basically
was Joker.
2.0.
Oh, it was Joker. Okay.
For
All right. So
Max, since he
yeah,
changed
so that
his name.
he changes his name every weekend. Okay, so that tracks. Okay, triple jungle ban versus him, and then first pick Zeri, which is a pretty standard first pick. I believe that's for RNG Maker. He was on their team on the last week. And then they pick up Yumi Jin, which I feel like is a weird pairing, but I guess Nithros likes the Jin. I don't feel like Jin is super great with Yumi, but maybe they
Either.
just maybe that's comfort on their side. Emilio's top tier, and then the Shaco for Joker. That is definitely a Joker champion. And then they ended it with
It's definitely on
Sejuani.
theme.
Yeah, on brand. And then Sejuani for red 3, which I mean that's standard. Believe that looks like if it's a Graves, then it looks like that's a top Sejuani, but it could be a top Graves too. Let me see the bans. They banned okay, so they banned Silas and Yasuo. And they respond with a ban of Jax and banning Cassidon. Then R4, they pick Graves, which again, that can be a flex pick. Graves and Sejuani can switch top and jungle. They end up with Ornn and Akali, which is on brand for Akali. Not sure how Akali made it this far down the draft, unless they didn't know it was Akali. Like, it's literally in his name, but all right. And then we finish off with Nico, which Nico can also be a mid to jungle flex. So they kind of have like a triple flex going on with Night Raid, where they could have Sejuani jungle top, they could have Graves top jungler mid, and they could have Nico probably mid jungler top as well. So
Was
it's
Nico
an
Jungle still
interesting.
viable?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
it's
still very good.
they buffed the heck out of Nico jungle. So Nico
Oh,
jungle
wow.
is like one of her. I mean, mid lane is probably your best role, but jungle is I think not far off. And
Have
then
you
top lane you can go on hit Nico, and that works
have you
as
not
well.
experienced the joy of just trying to farm under tower, trying to make sure your last hit when there's like 20 minions already there, and then you get randomly dove by another minion?
I'm gonna assume that Kid Buu is playing the Sejuani, and then I would assume, I guess Mockingbird might be playing Graves, and then Nico's mid, possibly.
Sejuani just seems like a kid boo pick, so I think you're right there.
I don't think Mockingbird would play Sejuani. Is why I say that. I don't think he plays as many tanks, but we'll see in a second. What do you think about the draft, Hailstorm?
I agree. They forgot how to read and see that H2O Akali is the name. So, maybe you want to test if he's still good on the champion or not. It's like everyone bans it. Does he even know how to play it anymore?
he banned Kassadin. Like
Right.
I didn't know Akali was known for his Kassadin, but
So
maybe he's a secret. He's got
Akali
a
plays
Kassadin.
any kind of cringe one shot carry champion. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Sedge
Sedge with no melees
Yeah.
feels good for Sedge. Sedge players love that in solo queue. The three of them that play Sedge.
So I think that was silly. I agree that Zeri Emilio is a very strong lane. Shaco, as long as you're ganking effectively, can pop off pretty well. And then Ornn just sets up a team. I really like Ornn with most any team comp. So I really like the
First pick
H2O
Ornn.
draft.
Just blind pick Ornn every game.
Blind pick Ornn every game. Fuck it.
It's OP. Wait, what counters it? Nothing. Exactly.
There's a couple things. On the side of Night Raid. Yeah, Lowie's not great. On the side of Night Raid, Bentage brought up a point I didn't know was true. Apparently, if you're Nico auto-transformed, or if you're Yumi auto-transformed Nico, apparently you're invisible. That's news to me, so that's just even more toxic.
Yeah, Yumi works like that with all invisible.
Yeah,
just imagine if there's a minion walking around and then you just saw a floating Yumi. It would kind of just give it away, I think.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. But like I feel like they have a lot of damage on the side of Night Raid and a lot of ways to make tricky plays, but not really a straight up simple team fight to do. So I like H2O's comp in this one.
Yeah, I would prefer H2O's comp, but yeah, I mean, Night Raid's got a lot of BS.
Yeah,
they got Nico and they got Yumi, so I mean.
Yeah, I'm with Night Raid on this one.
Went.
Answer champs. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. We see it was Kidbu on the Sejuani. We're right.
Good
Graves
lord,
top.
13-1
Mabra
Akali
on the Nico mid, and it was a 13-1-3 Akali. It turns out he's good at Akali.
He can, dude. He can still play Akali. That's hype.
Who would have known?
That's wild.
Yeah, I thought maybe that he was in the jungle for a while. It just like he just lost, and nope, he still knows how to play the champ. I thought he was going to change his name to H2O. Yeah, I thought he was going to change his name to H2O Jarvan for a while, but then he still knows how to play Akali.
Yeah, definitely. RNG also got very fed. Joker picking up some kills. Looks like he had a lot of assists, setting people up. So looks like a very well played game one.
What we learned today is that we might not want to pick 4 range champs with Sedge, and then we also might not want to pick Yumi on a Jhin. Those
and you
are just
also
my takeaways.
Probably don't want to let Akali have Akali. Just
that's the 3 pick. That's the hat trick. That's the three things we learned today.
There was a couple things we learned from this one.
Can't say you guys didn't learn anything if you're watching the stream.
We'll see how...
Make sure to like and subscribe. Sub with Twitch Prime. Thank you.
True. Like, subscribe. Watch out for those pesky random ads. Use those Twitch Primes if you have them. But
comment down below. Ring the bell.
That's for the YouTube. But we'll see how NRO adjusted their draft in game 2. Looks like this time they were on blue side.
They still didn't ban the Akali.
NRO said, we're done with tanks. We don't like those guys.
Yeah,
we are just going to send it into their face.
But they did pick the young Silas.
No, NRO. I said NRO.
NRO picked like one bruiser.
If you've watched the boss FFS, you would know that Sion is actually an assassin.
Oh, no. That's not what I want to hear.
But yeah, you want to run through this one?
Yeah, so we do the same thing on NRO. We triple ban Joker. That is an option. We have the same bans all around. We first pick Zeri. So what are they? Okay, so this time NRO first pick Zeri. Okay, so Zeri is first pick in LCS and in our league. Got it. All right, cool. Right, nerf it, please. Kog'Maw Melio for 1-2. That's a disgusting pair. Melio is also broken, right? Please nerf.
Yep.
Rakan Jarvan. So we got a lot of we got 2 huge engage options right off rip. That's pretty good for NRO. Um, I mean, they probably could have just picked Yumi here and just like won the game for free, but I guess their support Beeson has some self-respect and didn't want to play Yumi. So that's cool. And then Nocturne is odd with Kog'Maw Melio, but okay, we're here for it. H2O banned Nico because that champ's cancer, and Yasuo, so decent bans from them. Yasuo goes pretty good with the Rakan engages. We ban Ornn and Alawi. Good top lane bans. Some respect. Put some respect on the who is their top lane? Let's get Perfy. They had Perfy, yeah. Respect on Perfy's name. I like
Yeah.
it.
Imagine respecting Perfy.
Whoa, that's toxic. All right, everyone in this and everyone in chat, open a ticket on Boo. Thank you.
No.
Scion for H2O, which is a solid tank, probably besides first pick Ornn, probably the best tank in the game. IMO, hot take. They picked Yone Silas, which are really comfort champs for Mockingbird and Marbra, so I'm here for it. And then they last pick Annie because Akali doesn't want to win with his Akali, I guess.
Yeah, I
So-
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe the Silas matchup is one.
I mean, the
just doesn't
Silas
like.
matchup's the Silas matchup's rough, I guess, but it's like, dude, it's your name, bro.
Yeah, that's when
Like, they left up your name. They
that's-
disrespected him.
Especially once you pop off on a game 1, why not run it back? Say, hey, maybe it's a bad
Yeah,
matchup, but I got
I
this.
didn't-
I am H2O
his-
Akali.
His name is not H2O Annie. It's H2O Akali. So I wanted to see some Akali. Okay, it's okay. All right, we go into game. I think right off rip, I like NRO's draft better. I think that H2O kind of has some mismatched themes here. I don't like the Nocturne with a Kog'Maw Melio 1-2. I think it's like really off theme. I would have liked to see like either a tank or maybe something like even like an Ivern or something to help peel for the Kog'Maw, because you basically drafted a Kog'Maw comp whenever you draft Kog'Maw. So
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more theming around the Kog'Maw, but they kind of went like I think Annie is good on theme, and I think like Scion is fine. He's just a fine frontliner. I think Nocturne's a little misplaced, and I think NRO's draft is all very on brand. They all just want to go in, and yeah, I think I would predict an NRO win here.
Yeah, I agree. When you grab the Kog'Maw, you kind of want a team to peel for him. So, not liking the Nocturne pick here. It could have been one where if you had a tank in the jungle and Annie's fine, could have still been the Akali, been that second threat, then I like that team comp a lot more.
I'm just surprised they didn't pick like a Vi or something, because usually that's like the counter into Zeri is you pick Vi so she can't like run away. Like if you ult onto Zeri, she like as Nocturne, she can just go over the wall and then she's gone, and then your champ doesn't do anything.
Right.
So
right.
I don't. Yeah, I think it's a little strange, the Nocturne pick, but
And then
yeah, well,
I guess it'll be the Yone top, though it could be either Yone or Silas.
I believe Marbra is the Silas guy, so I think that would be a
yeah.
young top.
I know Mabra really does like that Silas, so it's a very strong pick to grab for him.
He's not the only one who likes the Silas.
But
Too
I
bad he
think
can't
Cyan should
jungle
have
clear.
a good time as far as lane, but I do like the team fight this time better for NRO. But let's see how they did. And looking like NRO did pick up this victory. Nithros going 11-2-8, getting very big on that Zeri. Mabra also doing very well on his Silas pick.
Joker still thought he was on Shaco with that build.
Going for that lethality Nocturne, which can work if you're getting the kills, but yeah, if you're falling behind, you want to go more of the bruiser build. Perfy looked like he was having a pretty good time, but there's only so much you can do.
I've only seen the combination of Stridebreaker Collector on Shaco before. I don't think I've seen that on any other champion. Just those two items.
It can work on Nocturne, just because like you ult in and you slow him, but like you said, if you
No,
do it
Stridebreaker's
against...
good. Stridebreaker's good. I see Stridebreaker on Nocturne. I just don't see Stridebreaker into Collector.
Yeah, you know.
Usually it's Stridebreaker into like Black Cleaver, or you go like full lethality into Collector, but I don't see like a mixture. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
But
y-
the Stridebreaker against the Zeri also, like we said, she jumps the wall, you slowed her, it doesn't matter because she's surfing over a wall.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think it's just draft gap. I think our comp is very hard to win with. Perfy played as well on Scion probably as you could have asked him to, but overall, Zeri was made way later than he was, so he just got outclassed.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like Perfy had a very good game, but was dragged down by the rest of the team.
Unlucky.
I mean, they would have won if Akali had just picked Akali.
Yeah, dude. If he picked
True.
he went 13-1 on Akali, and he went 4-9 on Annie. That means Akali is better
Therefore.
at Akali than Annie. Therefore, no other outlying factors matter. It
Exactly.
just that is the only truth.
Right.
That's don't lie.
Now we'll jump into the Game 3 draft. H2O on blue side, Night Raid on red side. Let's hear it.
All right. Okay. So bands. We are looking at the same bands, except they realized Zeri was actually made like 5 years after Zaya, so Zeri's probably more OP. So they decided to ban that, which is I applaud them for. They did not want to first pick it this time. I want to point that out. They did not feel like first picking this area this time, which is unfortunate. They wanted to take Jarvan away from NRO, which is a fair. Then we got Wukong Xayah 1-2, which is two strong picks. I like that. Misfortune. All right, you got the classic Jarvan Misfortune. We call it the hot box.
Yep.
And not to be confused with Nyla Jarvan, which is the washing machine, formerly trademarked by me. Melio, again, broken support. Riot, take care of it. And then the Blitzcrank, that's a really good counter into Melio. Misfortune, so it's a good lane. Good 2v2. You're wrong. Anyway. So we got Orin Alawi, so sticking with the top lane bans, put some respect on Perfy's name, and then we're going to Yasuo Silas this time, so we're double banning. Well, I guess Mockingbird plays Yasuo too. I think Mockingbird might play Yasuo, so we're banning. You're still keeping the Yasuo ban, and we're also banning the Silas. Just don't want to see it. It's just too good. We fourth pick Ari blind into a Zac, which I believe that's a Zac top lane, and a Cassiopeia mid. So I like H2O's theming here. You put them into the Jarvan ult, you miasma them, and then you Misfortune ult. Solid game plan. And then they have they finish it off with the Maokai, which is
Maokai is my
a
other
tank.
favorite blind pick tank.
Maokai is the tank of all time. Okay, yeah.
But it doesn't matter unless he has the Meowkai skin. Let's be honest.
So I think this game, if Jarvan is not tri-laning with Misfortune Melio, the game is hard. I think the game is hard for bot lane. If unless Blitzcrank misses every hook. I think it's like very if Beeson hits like 1 out of 10 hooks, the game's really hard for H2O.
Yeah, that's fair, because you get the hook into the
yeah.
knock up into the root, you're dead.
Yeah, I think it's like literally an insta kill lane. And
Yeah.
it is very hard for them to survive unless Jarvan is just like living in the bot lane with them and just staying in a bush in case Beeson ever hits a hook, he can just Jarvan in.
Right.
But team fights, I think, is pretty good on both sides. Go ahead, Hellstrom.
Yeah, both teams have go buttons. Like you got the Jarvan EQ ult, you got the Zac E, just super long jump in, Maokai W ult, Blitz pulls for picks, Wukong for ults. So plenty of go buttons on both sides. The Zac Maokai lane should be one where you're just kind of farming out. You're both not really doing damage unless the jungler's up there, so shouldn't really die that much in the top lane. I see game 3, they once again did not ban the Akali, and Akali didn't want to pull it out, so.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
just doesn't want to
actually
win, I guess.
From this
dude. Why
series-
wouldn't you just pick Maokai on R4 and then like blind pick Maokai R4 and then just last pick the Akali if there's something up that or if
Well,
there's a good matchup into it.
they had to pick, so they saw the Ahri before they picked.
No, what I mean is I'm saying
For Night
NR
Night Raid
yeah.
should have picked the
I got them
Maokai.
mixed up. I got them mixed up. My
Yeah.
bad. I thought H2O was on red and
Yeah.
yeah. So okay,
Like,
you picked Cassio into the Ahri. I don't even think Ahri is that bad of a matchup for Akali.
Yeah, again, it's one where it's like if it's just your champ and you're very comfortable and you can carry really hard on it, just gotta try to pull it out and win some games with it. But
Yeah.
this series showing if you pick certain champs, potentially H2O won't go for that Akali pick. So just gotta look for that as you're drafting, I guess.
I mean, NRO called the bluff, man. They're just like, oh, we don't have to ban that crap. He won't play it, except for one game where he played and won.
And it's fantastic. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with the hook into insta kill bot. Basically, you just have to play super safe as the Milio and the Misfortune need to
H2O
definitely
sometimes
just
call it
stand
true.
behind minions and never get pulled. But see how this game panned out. And it was the victory of the series over to NRO. There's a screenshot where Kid Buu was very kind and showed
The CC score on
CC
Maokai.
score.
Let's
Oh my
go.
god.
Easy.
Who wants to know how many minions were killed, honestly? H2O
I mean, it's
Couldn't
not
be
like
me.
CS is important or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Captains
it
out
looks
there,
like
if you
just
can
one
just
kill.
learn how to take a screenshot where you show everything you need to, that'd be great.
And if you could not hover items that block the entire screenshot, that would be great as well.
Vixper. Anyway,
I wasn't gonna say names, man. I was just
Look-
making a general suggestion.
I didn't want. I said it so too many tickets wouldn't have been made about you. I like you already have like the whole Twitch chat making a ticket about you before your earlier
I
comment.
only have
so
like 14 tickets about me. Like, it's not that bad.
Look like
what? All I go ahead.
no. Anyways, after tickets,
Yeah,
it's looking like the pop off Mockingbird on that Maokai. You see that ridiculous CC score.
I was gonna say, look what happens when Mockingbird plays the tank. Look at him. He's doing it. He's embraced the top lane ways.
Yeah, just sometimes if you set it up, I'd assume a lot of that's from team fights, but also if you just have the CC and your jungler walks top, you can get a lot of kills that way as well and get your team ahead.
I mean, Perfy did go 0-8, so I'd like to think that the Maokai like slapped around the Zakin lane and solo killed him a few times. I'd just like to think that personally.
It's entirely possible.
Because who would gank top realistically? Like that just doesn't seem like a realistic thing.
Kid
Top
Buu,
lane's supposed to
apparently.
be an island. Why would you gank
Yeah.
top?
Yeah, I just wanna imagine that like Mockingbird like solo killed Zach 6 times in lane and then just
I just don't know how that would
showed up at
happen.
team. I don't either, but I want to like that's my headcanon. That's
Don't get used to
what
me
I
playing
believe
tanks.
happened.
I'm already used to it. You're now only playing tanks for the rest of the season.
Bro, your
I'm allowed to
Maokai is
play
cracked.
Maokai.
Look at that CC score, bro. You like over doubled the other tank CC
Oh,
score.
you did? Alright. Well, I don't know how it happened, but I'm proud of you. Seems like a lane where you shouldn't really die, but we'll take it. Nithros and King Bison probably hitting some hooks, getting a lot of kills down there. RNG Maker
yeah.
also got up to 9 kills, so wasn't doing poorly himself, but just the overall team lead went to a pretty quick victory in this 23-minute win for NRO, and they took the series.
Yep, he got 9 kills and then he dipped. But yeah, that I mean that's how I would have expected the game to go. Honestly, with the bot lane like that. I mean, Xayah Blitzcrank is just like a disgusting lane against 2 immobile champions, squishy champions. So yeah, I think it was a good read by NRO to pick up that counter and punish the misfortune Melio.
Now we'll jump into game number 4, which was Rolling Stoners against Soarstar. Here's draft for game number 1. Stoners were on the blue side, Soarstar on the red side. It's like Stoners band away Fiora, Yorick, and
Syndra.
Syndra.
Dude, they took our bands against them week 1.
Oh yeah?
Come on.
What a bunch of
Come on.
copycats.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, Boosted just copying my entire strategy.
How
Thanks, dude.
Soarstar
original.
banning away Zac, Amumu, and Rammus, just hyper-focusing Cladan.
That's like every team's bans
I don't
against
blame
Rolling
them.
Stoners is triple banning Cladan. Feels bad, man.
Cladan's the only threat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a choice.
Yeah, it's a decision. Just remove all of the green CC junglers.
But Stoners grabbing the Xayah first pick. Soarstar answering with the Jhin. Junie is cracked on that Jhin, so love to see how that panned out. And the Ahri for mid lane. Stoners answering with the Lux Rakan. So they got the Levers bot lane on their side and Thresh support for pick 3. Then the bans to Shen and Malphite and Zion and Sejuani. So just taking out a bunch of beefcakes for round 2 bans.
Bunch of beefcakes. Hell yeah.
Soarstar pick up Wukong, and Stoners rounded out with the Skarner and the Cassante.
I will not yield.
Cladan saying, if you're going to ban all of my champions, then I'm just going to play Skarner and play another annoying champion. And Soarstar rounding it out with that Mordekaiser for the top lane.
Yeah, I think I think both teams honestly have decent drafts. I think there's not anything that looks too egregious to me. Just like eyeballing it, like there's no crazy mismatches on either side. They're pretty like overall good champions on each team. I think Rolling Stoners has a lot of lockdown, which is good against like Jhin Ahri, but they do have some like, they have some peel with Wukong, Mordekaiser, and Thresh. So, I think overall it's pretty good. If I had to pick a draft, I would probably take Rolling Stoners just because I think that they have a little bit better champions. I like Xayah and Rakan especially. Like again, Jhin Thresh is a little like off theme to me. I don't love that pairing, but it's not the worst. I just would prefer like I don't know, maybe a Morgana Boo.
This one I like Soarstar just because Junie's on the Jhin and Junie is cracked on that Jhin.
Yeah, see, they should have first picked Jhin like we did, so that she wouldn't get the Jhin or the Syndra. That's like the 10-head move right there. But yeah.
I do like Thresh into a lot of team comps, even if it's not perfect for the bot lane. It's very good at setting up and defending teams from picks.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, it's still good. It's just a little nitpick. I don't think there's really anything wrong with either draft. Yeah. Really.
And then the Skarner, you kind of need to get like 3 or 4-ish items to be that really scary tank where you just deal a shitload of damage and don't die.
But yeah, I think Skarner's the only part of like Rolling Stoners draft that I'm just like, I feel like that's hard to make that work. Like, because Skarner just kind of has to run at you, and it's really hard to run through Soarstar's team comp without getting flayed, charmed, CC'd, knocked up, like anything like that. So yeah, I think the Skarner is a bit hard to operate, but I think it shouldn't be too bad if the bot and mid are ahead.
Oh, jump into the post game.
Oh, I know he do run that fast. I believe you. He do be running fast.
Run fast though. And this one was a victory for Soarstar. Looking like Junie 15, 1 and 4 on the Jhin. Just ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah, you guys didn't first pick the Jhin. That's the issue.
Don't give Junie Jin. She is too good.
You can't copy our our first 3 bands, but then not first pick Jin. That's the whole point of our first 3 bands.
This one a 33-minute game, so looking like Star got a lead and was able to hold on to it pretty well and close out the game fairly cleanly. I guess maybe there were a couple picks, but it wasn't anything too crazy.
Yeah, I just see a 15-1 Jin on my screen. I'm like, what could have happened?
So it's
How
the
did they
meta.
win?
It's the meta where ADCs when they get big, they do a lot of damage.
That's every meta. I don't remember a meta in the last, I would say, multiple years where ADCs were not good.
Yeah. Here we'll jump into game 2 draft.
Every ADC main triggered.
I'm not even gonna entertain that. That's a bait. That's a fucking bait.
Go ahead.
It's 100% true. AD carry players
It is
just like
not
to
true.
complain.
That is not
Yeah,
true.
All AD carry players like to do is
Riot
complain.
caters more to ADCs than any other class.
Exactly.
You guys are coping so hard right now.
Bro, look
No,
at all the
literally
changes to
ADC players
ADCs
cope.
this year. Like literally Freak joins the balance team and there's like 20 changes to ADCs like in the first like 10 patches of the game. I don't want to hear it.
Coping.
Anyways,
Look at last patch notes, how many ADCs were changed and how many top laners have changed. Oh wait.
Listen, Boo's just trying to cope for her Ubu ADCs, okay? It's fine.
You don't have to call me out like this.
Here for game 2, Star was on blue side, Stone is on red side. Once again, Star banning out Ramus, Amumu, and Zach. Sorry, Cladan, we just want to ban all your junglers.
Cladan's just not allowed to have fun ever, I guess, huh?
They just banned the green tanks, man. I'm telling you. If it's green and it's a
None
tank,
of
you
the
can't
green
play
ones.
it. None of the green ones.
Stoners took out Fiora, Yorick, and Jin. First pick on
Ooh,
the
they
Ahri.
left up the Syndra.
They did leave up the Syndra. But the first pick on the Ahri, definitely liking that pick in the mid lane. Stoners grabbed Thresh and Vigar. Looking to scale up in that mid lane and took away one of the kind of early pick supports I really like because he fits into a lot of team comps with the Thresh.
I mean, yeah, you might as well pick a scaler into Ahri because she is just like the most unpunishable mid lane champion that you can play, I think. It's just like she's just so safe. She just has sustain, healing, CC, mobility. Like I don't know, she's just everything. She's the
only has,
Gragas
like,
of mid lane.
3 flashes in her ultimate. What are you talking
She's
about?
the
Oh.
Gragas of mid lane. That is, you can't be punished.
If
Yeah.
Gragas was hot, it would
Who
be alright.
even likes
Gragas is hot. Shut
Gragas?
up.
Cough, cough.
Don't talk to me like
cough.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
Star grabbing the Caitlyn Leona, getting a pretty strong duo in that bot lane. If you set up the traps as Leona stuns people, you can deal out a ton of damage in every engage. And then the Ezreal to try and avoid that engage. Probably a smart pickup there for the Stoners. Then the bans were the Scion Sedge for Star, Mord Wukong for Stoners, and then it was the Echo picked up for the jungle. Says you're gonna ban all my tanks. Let me play a carry jungler. Maokai Jax for Star, and then the Alawi final pick into the Jax, trying to be that lane bully when you're not against someone who can ult you away from all your tentacles. Probably a very smart 5th ban there, just taking away the Mord, probably planning that Alawi pick. So good draft strategy there.
I mean, F picking or like since they have counter pick, I don't like. I think picking Mord first isn't, or like banning Mord isn't super crazy unless they like really wanted to play Alawi and they're just like, oh, we're gonna pick Alawi anyway, so we're just gonna ban the Mord just in case they blind pick Mord.
Sometimes there's just a champion you want to play, and you're like, just ban my biggest counter.
Yeah. I'm
Depends
just saying,
on what they were
like,
talking about in the draft, or if they just didn't want the Mord anyways.
it's for the boys that don't like the tax. Yeah, I feel
Sure.
that.
Don't want the QSS tax. That's fair as well.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, they did play last game and did pretty well, so I get it. But
All right,
this time, I like the Vigar into Ari. As you said, you're like, I'm probably not gonna kill you. Let me scale.
That's what we picked. That's what we picked into them when they picked Ari. We just put James on Veigar. It
Yeah.
was,
James really likes Vigar, anyways, though. So.
yeah, but it's good into Ari. It's like I don't know.
That's fair.
It's a good Ari counter.
I like the safe bot lane against a pretty aggressive bot lane of Sorstar. As long as you don't get caught out, you can just kind of go towards the late game, and then you're looking towards a strong jungle top to try and push a lead. As far as Rolling Stoners, so I like their team comp here. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, Livelight pretty much plays only Thresh Leona, so yeah, taking away the Thresh on Rolling Stoners just puts him on the other champion, which I think Thresh is good into Leona, so I think that's a good strategy against their team is to take that away. Take the Thresh away. We did that in we banned it away in the second game of ours, but yeah, I think it's good strategy for Stoners. I don't know how much I love the Ezreal. I don't think it's bad, but I would have rather seen like maybe a more aggro AD carry paired with the Thresh. But other than that, I think the Echo's fun. I think the Echo is hard to play into this game just because of how much CC they have. Like it's definitely a tenacity Echo kind of game because if you get stunned and blown up, you just don't get to use your ult on that champ.
Yeah, it's one where you want to jump in a little later after a little bit of the CC goes down, but definitely a more tricky one.
Yeah, I think the Echo's tough to play. I think it's still, I think it's playable, but I think I think it can be hard to play Echo into their team. And then I think Alawi is just broken, to be honest with you. So I think it's like fine again into like 80. I think Alawi's pretty much good into any team comp at this point. I think the champs like they just buffed it so many times that.
Yeah, Alawi's like right now the epitome of just being a lane bully, I feel like.
Well, like I feel like now with the Iceborne Gauntlet build, like her team fighting's not bad either. Like before, it was just like, oh, Alawi can't team fight, but now she just like W's onto your carry and just slows them for a million years and just beats them up.
Yeah, the biggest issue is still you just have to hit the E, so it's still a little bit restricted, but yeah, I agree, it's better with all these buffs.
Yeah, I just feel like Iceborne is
But
silly on that champ.
we can jump into the post game, see how things went. And looking like the Rolling Stoners picked up game number 2, sending us to game number 3. Boosted had a pretty good time in that mid lane. Went 4-1-6. Had that 8-0-2 Ezreal for Rise of Dusk.
I want to bet that nothing happened in lane and that was literally all like late game fights or
Oh
like
yeah,
mid game fights.
I would definitely believe that, especially since Junie and Livelight both have 2 deaths. So like maybe you got a kill or 2 from a gank. But yeah, I'd imagine a lot of that was late game after you had 3 items. Just killing the front line as they try to fight you.
Really good objective control, I'll say, by Rolling Stoners. They have all 4 dragons, both Rift Heralds, Baron. They only allowed 2 towers. It looks like it was a pretty stompy game, even though the kills are like kind of even. I mean, it's a 30-minute game, and seems like they were in control the entire game by the looks of it. Just seeing like how many objectives that they got on their side, it seems like it was pretty much always in their hands.
Yeah, I'd agree. Looks like it was very controlled. Like whenever a team fight broke out, it looks like it was pretty hectic. But as far as objective setup and everything, I agree. Rolling Stoners were on point for this game and had a controlled victory here. But we'll roll on into draft number 3. And the Stoners were back on the blue side, Sorstar on the red side. Sorstar again said none of the green champs for the jungle. Stoners took out Fiora, Yorick, and Jin this time. Said we don't want to see that Jin.
Geez, Sorstar took a page from your guys' draft, Hailstrom. They like their AP champion.
Listen, sometimes to be fair, MR items are worse than armor items overall, so it's a little bit better
I
for
would
AP heavy than AD heavy.
I would say The only thing I would have to say to that is that armor pen items are way better than magic or like percent magic pen items. That's the only thing I would say to that.
They did
'Cause
learn the
Void's-
gym band. You're right, Vintage.
Void staff is not a great item, and AD champions have like 20 items that shred armor. So
right.
that's my only bit for that. But go on.
Stoners picked up Thresh again, knowing it's essentially the Thresher Leona. Definitely a good first pickup to keep it away. So we start grabbing the Mordekaiser Wukong. Stoner is picking up the Olaf, who is a very good counter pick if that is top, which it looks like it is, Ezreal. Olaf is very hard for Mordekaiser to play into. And then the
Oh yeah,
Ahri.
it's like his worst matchup besides like maybe Gangplank.
Yeah, it's
Like
just
Olaf and Gangplank are both just like impossible matchups.
spamming Qs, you just get so much damage, and then as soon as he has ultimate, you can't ult him anyways, and he'll just run you
Yeah.
down. It feels very bad.
That's why I said before that you can't first pick Mordekaiser because there's too many things that actually counter. The only time where you can first pick Mordekaiser is if you just know the enemy team is just gonna play a tank. Like you just know they're like, oh, they can't play anything but tanks, so I'll just pick Mordekaiser.
Right. Or if you
But-
have a team like we had the last season of Press R where we'd first pick Mord, but it would be either a Mord mid, jungle, or top. You didn't know.
Oh you could definitely flex it, but I mean if you're just gonna pick it for a top, if you're just gonna pick it top, like obviously I don't think High Lady plays Mordekaiser. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say if they first pick Mordekaiser, especially if they pick Mordekaiser Wukong and show their jungle, then it's probably gonna be a top lane one.
Right. But then they pick up the Ahri once again for Sora Star. Bands come out as Caitlyn and Tristana from Rolling Stone, so they've taken out 3 of the 80 carries, but not the Syndra. Hint, hint. Echo and Sejuani outside of Sora Star. They do pick up the Syndra for that AP carry on Sora Star. Then the Jarvan Vigar once again, and they round out the comp with the Seraphine. So it's looking like it could be that Seraphine Syndra bot lane. Which is...
I think it's smart to leave open the Syndra to make them want to pick it, to keep the 4 because you already showed Ahri Mordekaiser, so you already have a lot of magic damage, obviously. So
yeah, definitely fair. Especially if you want to push them towards heavy AP.
Yep. I think it was good. And I Livelight did not pick Leona. I'm proud of him.
It's branching out. We're so proud.
Exactly. I love when people branch out.
This one, I just know the top matchup is very rough, so it's a big plus for Stoners. I think as long as the Thresh and Ezreal dodge a lot of the CC from Syndra Seraphine, they should be okay in lane. They have the same Vigar Ahri mid matchup, which we saw did well into game 2. And then Jarvan Wukong's kind of a wash. I think it's pretty even for the team, so I'd say this one I like the Stoners comp.
Oh yeah, I mean Jarvan just has free ganks down bot side. It's very hard to gank Sonor's bot side with Thresh Ezreal. Even if you do stun the Ezreal, you can just have a Lantern for him. Very easy to gank Sora Star. You just like once Jarvan gets 6, even before 6, like you flash Thresh Flay into Jarvan EQ. It's pretty hard for them to combat that. And then mid lane is still, I like the matchup Veigar into Ahri. I just think is pro Veigar. So I mean I'm pretty much seeing winning matchups in 3 different lanes here, which typically means that the game is doomed.
Right. But we'll jump into the post game.
Rolling Stoners read them like a book in the draft department.
Yep.
It's good for them.
Very well drafted by them. Bonkers popped off pretty hard on that Olaf, though he did die 8 times. So they were punishing him.
It's just
as well.
It's just Olaf things. You just kind of run in until you die and just auto attack people until you die.
Olaf's one of those where even if you trade, you just know you'll run out the 80 carries and kill them before, or I guess the AP carry this game. But kill the carries before you die off anyways, and give your team a
To
good
be
spot.
fair, To be fair, yeah, that's yes, bonkers. I too just scream and right click when I play Olaf. It's very amusing. I have to mute myself perma, or my team will do it for me. So Mordekaiser did die 10 times, so I will say that mission accomplished. Olaf theory proven. Olaf is good into Mordekaiser. In case there are any doubters in chat.
Yeah, again, just like kind of an impossible lane. You do what you can.
Yeah, you're kind of just last hitting with Q and E from a distance while you just watch the Olaf like stare at you
Yeah.
and just wait until it's kind of like Darius, where he just like as soon as you step out once, he just presses ghost and runs you down, and then it's
Yeah,
fight or flight.
It's very tough, or the other person just has to literally be awful for you to win that matchup. But definitely a good series. Took it to 3 games, and well done, Stoners, picking up that win. I'll jump into
The
game
reverse
5.
sweeps this week. There's a lot of them. There's what is that? That's 3 reverse sweeps in a row.
Yeah, I think you're right. Here we got Big Wheel versus Ultra Lords. Now is their name.
Boo! No draft screen.
They did
Boo!
not give us the draft screen, so we just have the
Frickin'
post games.
ah! Goodness, guys, come on now.
But
You can
yeah,
kind of see how the draft. I mean, we don't know like who picked it, who picked what when, but we know like when what they banned when at least. So
shout out
can
to Hayden Duh
assume
for filling in for Big Wheel. Avius was not available, but performed very well on that Mordekaiser game 1. Went 8-0-4 against the Gangplank.
against the Gangplank. Dang, that must have been. I mean, it is a salary mismatch in the top lane. Hayden does like Diamond, I think, and Zolmarn, I believe Zolmarn's an ADC main, so it is it is definitely a mismatch topside, but yeah, that is theoretically a Gangplank favored lane. So it's good on him for winning it.
For sure. Looks like Fluffy also popped off pretty hard. Still liking that Zeri pick, and Hardwave really liking this brand pick now. Since people have been banning away his Jace, has been performing very well on it, and did well this game as well into Kazuto. So
All you had to show me was the bot lane, and I would have told you who won. Like you didn't have to show me any other pick. You just had to show me the 2 bot lanes, and I just Zeriumi is just Z tier bot lane. So yeah, that's pretty much all. The other people didn't. Other people were just living in Zeri's world, but yeah,
true.
it's
But
pretty good picks.
we'll jump
Pretty
on
good draft.
into the game 2 score screen. And Big Wheel picked up again, so they picked up the victory 2-0. Hayden once again going 5-0-1, so in 2 games
Gee, perfect
going
KDA.
no deaths, so has
What a
the
monster.
undefined KDA because we can't divide by 0. Evbot
Yeah.
also getting the Gragas once again in this game. We saw from week 1, do not give Evbot Gragas, so he
I
popped
believe
off as well.
Kazuto actually. I believe they switched, and Kazuto went top lane, and then Zolmarn went mid this game. Actually,
Yeah, that's
they
what
might
it's
have
looking like.
they might have tried to shore up the mismatch a little bit by putting Zolmarn versus against Hardway and Kazuto versus Hayden, which
They did that, but then they also gave Hardway his Jace, which is like one of his main champs. So it's like you sent your higher salary into the top
I
lane, but
mean,
then
bro, they
you let
had to
their
get
mid
rid of
lane.
Zeriumi. They had to get rid of both of them, dude. They're too gross.
So
What can you do?
maybe you ban the Zeri and not the Yumi, but yeah.
Dude, why would you ban a mid lane and not just ban bot lane and support? Like,
Well, they banned the
it's
Mortis.
just
But well played here
yeah.
to Big Wheel, picking up that victory. Now we'll jump into the final game, and I'll let you cover your drafts because it is your games, deity.
All right, our game. So we banned Zaya against Zaya Lambo, and then we banned Karma for Snarbopsy and Annie for Snarbopsy because dude's cracked. Don't know what to say. He just plays all the shield jams and it's gross. They double banned Beard actually. They banned Seraphine Taric, and then they banned my my lovely Belveth, which I have not gotten to play yet because It's been banned in all 5 games that I've played this season.
Don't you get all
Sad.
5 bans every game anyway, though?
No, just my Belbussy. That's it. That's the only thing that gets banned.
Stop! Don't ever call it that again.
They're afraid of it. All right. Anyway, so we first picked Jin as per usual because Hobbit Jin. They pick Ezreal Nocturne, which
It's the Hobbit Jin,
is
only second to the Junie Jin.
yep, only second to
Oh,
Junior
don't
Jin.
let Hobbit hear you say that.
Well, we didn't know because we just played Jin against them both games. I think when we played them, so we'll never know.
It's a reason
you
you have to
Uh,
steal it away.
Bro, because Hobbit's a Jin god. I don't know what you want. Okay, so then we responded with Thresh and Kane, and they responded with the Galio, so they're doing the Galio Nocturne. We banned Melio because that champ's gross, and then we banned Olaf because that champ's gross, and then they banned Neat's Malphite and James's Anivia. So we picked Veigar just because Veigar in a vacuum is pretty good until Nocturne Galio. And then, well, they picked Lulu first, but then we picked Veigar Cho'Gath, and then they followed up with Mordekaiser, who in a vacuum is getting into Cho'Gath. What are your thoughts?
I like that Neat is drawing bans and also is able to play, like, he'll lose the Malphite, but he'll get the Cho'Gath, which he's shown he's very comfortable on. It's one where Mordekaiser can win that lane, but it's not necessarily super lopsided. It's still very playable for both
Yeah,
sides.
it's not as bad as Malphite Mordekaiser, but it can still be. I mean, typically what I see happening in that matchup usually is Mordekaiser ults Cho'Gath, and Cho'Gath just lives still because he's Cho'Gath, and then it's just like, okay.
All I've really seen is nobody's really banned your Kane against you to force you onto any other champs. They just want to keep banning the Velveth. Maybe
Yeah,
so,
dude,
a switch up people could try, ban away either multiple or different jungle champions.
no, they just don't want to see me on my Belveth. I won't call her by her true name because it offends Boo, apparently.
I
So
know.
gross.
I know Hobbit's very comfortable on the Jin. The Thresh, as I've said before, I like into most any comp. I know Beard can play it well, and I know James plays the Veigar very well, so I like your setup a lot. For Los Nomadas, they're kind of reliant on the Nocturne ults, powering up with the Galio ult to get a Wombo in the side lanes and try to get a lead. They have the Lulu to keep the Ezreal safe, but Ezreal can already kind of keep himself safe, so it's kind of a lane that works, but not an ideal one, I'd say. And then the Mord, again, I think is fine, but I don't know if it meshes as well with the idea of the Wombo team fight with the Nocturne Galio, because with the Mord you kind of pull yourself into a 1v1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd favor you guys' comp for this game. We'll jump into the score screen. And you guys did lose this game. Haha, Lambo got ridiculously fed.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Ezreal was a little bit too fed, so
Yeah, if you're
yeah.
against the fed Ezreal, things go south pretty quick. He can hit you
Yeah,
from like
he
half
was.
the screen away.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did have some good skirmishes early game topside, and I was able to get a little bit accelerated from that. And then like Hobbit wasn't even super behind either. It was just a mixture of things. It was just like, so we had some unlucky fights around bot side. Lambo ended up getting a lot of kills, and basically it was like early game or like mid game before Jin had his items. It was kind of hard to deal with both Mordekaiser and Galio with the jock shows. So we didn't really. I was our only tank killer early game, and I couldn't really kill them because Ezreal was outputting lots of damage and Lulu was just keeping everyone alive. So it just turned into one of those things where it's just like a couple bad fights led to a snowball. It was a 35-minute game, so I mean, it did. We did keep them at bay for a little while, even though we didn't really get that many objectives or anything. We were just kind of behind most of the game. But yeah, we made a mental note to adjust our drafts for the next time or next game.
Definitely fair. That is one drawback with the Gen ADC, since you only have the 4 autos. If you're against a fair amount of tanks on the enemy team, even with the
Yeah.
Lord Doms, aren't as effective as a standard auto attacking ADC at burning them down. So pretty good
Yeah,
build
yeah.
path here from Los Nomados, but we'll see how draft number 2 went.
So we opted for red side this time because they won the coin flip and they picked red side, so we took them away from their comfort. They banned the same bans. We banned same things except we replaced the Annie for Ezreal. Just because we might as well take because we kind of figured if so obviously Lambo's known for Xayah. His other two picks that he was playing the most were Ezreal and then Samira. So we figured if we ban Ezreal and Xayah, then he'll play the Samira, which plays into our bot lane. Makes it so our bot lane can kind of punish him if he picks Samira, because Samira wants to go in where Ezreal wants to go out. So we figured if we ban Ezreal, then they might opt into Samira, and it might make it so we can punish the bot lane a little harder. They first picked Nocturne, wanting to stick to their Nocturne Galio. I don't know why they wouldn't first pick the Galio. So we ended up taking that away from them, and then we paired it with Kindred because Kindred is really good in the Nocturne in a vacuum, and we figured if they pick Samira, that's also Kindred's good into that as well. They picked Samira Olaf, where we know Smoothie likes Olaf. I was kind of curious why they picked it so early, but it was fine. We ended up picking Malphite here because in a vacuum, when Malphite gets like his armor items, honestly, he's like pretty fine into Olaf in a vacuum because he just kind of runs away, outlives his ultimate, and then he can just kind of beat him up when he doesn't have ult in like a fist fight, and you build so much armor that it becomes manageable to play against. It's not the worst tank matchup into Olaf, I would say. They banned Yasuo and Anivia, so they're banning Yasuo away from Hobbit, I believe, because Hobbit plays some
Oh yeah, he will
Yasuo
play
ADC.
Yasuo.
Yep. So and we had Malphite Galio, so yeah, they did not want to see Hobbit's Yasuo, and then they banned Anivia as they did last game. We banned Melio like the first game. We also banned the Lulu just because they showed their top lane, so we didn't have to ban like Mordekaiser or anything. So we just banned double supports because we know that's what Kitten's like default is to play like enchanters.
Right.
So we picked Caitlyn here, and just because Hobbit thought Caitlyn was good if picking blind into the support. And they picked Renata and Ivern, so they picked double enchanter here, which I thought was fine for them. And then we picked the Malzahar just to help, basically to help target Samira, just because Samira was like their main threat on their team. Nocturne and Olaf, we have Caitlyn and Kindred that can kind of just kite them back. All they can really do is walk forward. Samir is the only one that can kind of threaten our back line, so we just figured if we have more point and click CC, then we can just lock her up. And the Nocturne and Olaf shouldn't really be that difficult unless for some reason like Olaf gets ahead against Neat, but again, it's not something that I like foresaw to happen.
Yeah, totally agreed. This one, I even more like your team comp. You have like essentially an entirely team fight driven comp. You've got a go button with the Malphite, a Galio to follow up. If ever you're getting dove on or someone gets low, you have the Kindred ult to not die, and as you said, the Malzahar ult to avoid getting dove on. Like, just kind of a ridiculous 5-man. I'd say for Los Nomados, they'd have to look for either a very fed Samira or just Nocturne picks very early once the ult hits, or a very strong Olaf who can split push and kind of pull you guys apart. But I think
Yep.
that's harder to do than just meatball as five man. But let's jump into the post game. It looks like this time you guys
Oh my
did
God.
pull it together. Had a Hobbit on a 15-2-5.
15-2.
Caitlyn popping off on the long range 80 carry, saying, if I can count past 4, I can do more damage.
Yeah, they also didn't have very many tanks. I mean, really, only Olaf is the closest thing they have to a tank, so it
Hey,
was
they had Daisy
pretty.
too.
Daisy.
Yeah, so I mean, it was pretty. The thing is with Daisy is she can't build Jock Show. Okay, so she's not that tanky.
You know what? Yeah.
So yeah, it was. This game was kind of stompy. They did get like a dragon and a herald, so it wasn't like we just like perfect game them or anything. It was mainly because like Lambo got like three of those 5 kills were from one fight. Lambo got like a triple. They did stream our game, so I don't know who was watching, but Lambo did get like a nice triple. I think a second dragon, and they were able to like take a dragon and get a little bit of tempo back. But most of the game it was pretty scrappy. I would say there was a lot of like Bopsy had some good plays on Ivern early, but ultimately it's just like our team fight comp was just way too crazy, and they really didn't have any answers to it with their champions. I mean, Ivern can't really keep the Samira alive for like that much CC, and then Olaf never got to the like Neat played really well into the Olaf, even though it looks like he didn't like do that much. Like he didn't let the Olaf just run all over him, and we were just able to end pretty. I mean, it was a 22-minute game. It was pretty quick. We just ended up getting a lot of tempo towards the end, and we just kind of pushed to end with. I believe we ended with like Rift Herald, if I'm not mistaken. But we used Rift Herald to like get momentum to end the game pretty early on.
I remember in this one, a lot of ults from Mr. Neat that kind of look like the ults where you see it as the Malphite, and your team doesn't see it, but
Yeah,
it worked out in
yeah.
the end where the kills got picked up and you guys closed out very neatly at the 22-minute mark. So definitely a
Neatly.
very well played games
Yes.
from you guys. This is also the series. If you didn't see it, you should check it out. It's why they're going to end up being the Goat Kings instead of the God Kings. You got to
Oh
check
yeah,
out the
there's lots of
stream to see how that
yeah,
happened.
the origin story of how we became the Goat Kings.
Oh, great.
But now it's 1-1, so we'll jump into draft number 3.
Yeah, so this game kind of perplexed me as they didn't like change anything. They kind of just they did take red side back, as I knew that was their comfort. So we banned the same things, they banned the same things. This is what I was kind of saying to Hailstorm before the stream is like I feel like they set up a game plan of they really wanted to play Nocturne Galio, and when we started threatening that Nocturne Galio, they didn't really know how to change their comp up. So they kept picking the Nocturne. They picked the Nocturne first pick the first time, but then here we picked the Galio first pick, so they wouldn't take it, and they still picked the Nocturne. So I was kind of confused on that because I was just like, why are you picking the Nocturne when the whole point of it was to play like Nocturne Galio? So I didn't really get why they still kept going back to the Nocturne, but neither here nor there. They picked the Lulu, they picked Nocturne.
Yeah,
We responded the same. Go ahead.
sorry. This is one where Los Amados, since they had lost, could have picked blue side. Said, "Hey, we'll first pick the Galio since we really want
Yeah.
it," and the other team probably won't pick Nocturne. Maybe they'll try to ban it away, but we'll see in the first round if they do or not. So
Oh yeah, if they did that and they first picked Galio, we definitely you would have they probably would have forced me to play the Nocturne and
right.
take. But even if they did that, if they made me go on Nocturne, he could have just played something like a Moo and still been equally as good. So yeah, we were kind of scratching our heads on why they picked the Nocturne when they could have just went like Lulu, a Moo or something like that, and just been like picked a way better champion.
Yeah, it was like
But
slightly confusing game 2, but they didn't expect you to take the Galio, so I got
oh
it.
yeah. They
game
first
3,
picked the Nocturne, which if they first picked the Galio, it would have been better. But they first picked Nocturne instead, and then yeah. So
game 3, you just gotta know, hey, this is the prio pick we want. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and then we ran it back with Kindred Malphite because we're like, all right, if they're just giving us our champions again, we'll take it. I didn't think the only issue here was I was like they could pick Mordekaiser on 3 into the Malphite and it could have been difficult, but we figured that if they did that, then they would leave up their AD carry and we could double ban their ADC and make him on an even more uncomfortable champion to play. So we figured like, hey, like if they do pick this Mordekaiser, it's gonna suck for Neat, but we're gonna be able to double ban their ADC and then put him on an uncomfortable spot. So, but they ended up picking Jinx instead of Mordekaiser. So we were able to, which Jinx Lulu is a better bot lane than they had before to Samira Renata. It's a better pairing, obviously, but it's still like again they have. I'm looking at 3 immobile champions against like Galio Malphite, which is kind of hard to play against. We double ban Smoothie with Olaf Mordekaiser because those are just 2 champions that we know he's comfortable on and that he likes to play into tanks. They banned Caitlyn this time. Did not like Hobbit's 15 and 2 Caitlyn, and then the Anivia. So I guess we're leaving up the Yasuo, which we did think about playing Yasuo, but they ended up going with the Swain on 4, which is all around good pick. You have Snarbopsy's a good Swain player. I really wasn't that scared of the Swain because Kindred just kind of melts Swain, so I wasn't really super concerned about it. Because we talked about him probably ended up picking Swain after our 2 bans. Hobbit went back to Jhin because they really didn't have. I think with our current comp, we were just like, we could pick the Yasuo, but he likes Jhin. He said he's like, I like Jhin into Jinx, so we were just like, okay, we'll run back the Jhin, and we had more like setup and peel for him this time around with our engaged tank, so we were like, hey, it works. And then we went back to the Malzahar because again, it's just like Nocturne flies in, you press Malzahar R, then it's like Nocturne's not a champion. And then they rounded it out with Scion, and so they wanted to they handshake the tank matchup there with us.
Nice. Yes, I do think you guys basically got to run it back. Like you had to
It was
pick
different
the
ADC.
Jhin instead of the Caitlyn, but definitely took what worked in game 2, took it to game 3. I do like having the Lulu Jinx if you have a setup to keep the Jinx safe and get her fed. I do think once the Gallia was gone in game 2 and 3, if they could have pivoted the Nocturne pick, could have been better with the team comps, but I like the Swain. The Scion into the Malphite, I think is fine. It's just kind of a double scaling top. So I like your team comp better again, but I don't think it's as bad this time for Los Nematas, but we gotta see how it ended up being played out. And looks like you guys did indeed take away the 2-1 victory. Another reverse sweep.
Yep.
And looking like you popped off on your Kindred, Mr. Neat having a perfect game on the Malphite, and Hobbit also having a perfect game on the Jhin. So
I would have had a
played all
perfect game
around.
too. I would have had a perfect game too, but I like inted like very 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 late in the game, like probably like 3 minutes before we ended, and I like was so tired because our drafts went long, and so I just like straight up inted. Otherwise, I would have had a perfect game too. My death was like very very late in the game,
Sometimes
but
just gotta int away a kill every now and again.
yeah. True.
Keep
I like
yourself
face
humble.
check. I like face check to Dragon Pit, and there were 5 people there, and I was like, shit.
Whoopsies.
It was pretty
Well,
funny.
if you want to
Yeah.
see Deity into Dragon, go check out the series. This is the game we casted from this week.
Oh yeah, I straight up ran into them. But yeah, I mean, we just had control of the game pretty much the entire time. I mean, it was 4 kills to 23. They really weren't able to get much on us. I mean, overall, it was just like James actually played really well into Snarbopsy. Like, I think James actually solo killed him at one point in the game on the Malzahar against Swain, which is like
I think that's true.
hard to do. It's hard to solo kill a Swain as Malzahar, but he did do it. Yeah,
How
I
it
mean,
goes sometimes.
there wasn't really much to go over in this one or anything crazy. We just literally played just really, really well, I think. Our comp, again, I just thought was like way better than their comp, and I just think they just did not adapt to like us taking their Galio away. I think they were just so like stuck on like the idea of like Nocturne Galio that they couldn't pivot past it. So I think once we made the draft adjustment in the second game and third game, to take away the Ezreal and the Galio from them, I think they didn't really know how else to play.
For sure.
So we just kind of like had a very, very convincing last 2 games against them.
It's definitely a fun series. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But now we'll check out the games coming up for week number 3. We've got Titan Gaming's Mox against Los Nomadas, Velocity Gaming against Soarstar, Battle of the Bulg versus a Big Wheel, Night Raid
That's match of the
Owls.
week right there.
That was also what Bentage was saying, so a lot of hype
That's
around
match.
Battle of
That's
the Bulg
match of
and
the week.
Big Wheel.
The battle of the bees.
I was trying to get them to play games tonight so we could do it live. Unfortunately, people aren't available, so maybe we'll get to stream that VOD. We'll definitely try for it.
Oh, I will
Unless if it
cast
happens
that
to be a
VOD, dude.
stump, we never know.
Yeah, Hailstorm's like if they 2-0 us, I don't want it streamed.
Then maybe we'll say, no, it's boring. Don't even worry about it. But Night Raid Owls against the Rolling Stoners, God Kings or Goat Kings as they will be
Yeah,
soon. As soon as
new and
Beard
improved.
posts all the things he needs to for the updates against Titans
Yeah.
Ref, and then H2O against Ultra Lords. So definitely a couple of bangers coming up this week. We'll again try to stream as many as we can. Apologies for only getting one game done this week. We were planning to do 2, but then the patch came through and kind of screwed that plan over. But
Dang it, patch.
we have any thoughts for the games coming up?
Dude, I mean, it's cool because there's a lot of like I know, I think Velocity versus Soarstar is like Battle of the O2s, so like one team won't be O2 anymore. Battle of the Bulge versus Big Wheel, it's Battle of 2 O's, so that's like one less team will be undefeated.
Yeah, we're gonna go distance vintage.
Yeah,
hold your horses, okay, man?
Yeah, just hold on, bro. Let's talk about it first. Shit. Night Raid Owls also versus Rolling Swords is also Battle of 2 O's, 2 O teams.
Yep.
So there'll be 2 less 2 O teams, possibly. I mean, possibly more. There could be, if we lose the Titans Draft, that'll be 3. But and then I mean, Titans Wrath got a new roster. They did good this week, so I mean, I'm excited for our matchup. And then
yeah, there were a lot of roster swaps this week. I kind of last minute set up this VOD for the Seer, so we're not going over all that, but we can talk about it next week. So any teams you see that are 0-2 or 2-0 and you think are safe, you don't always know if they're actually safe. So there's a lot of spiciness that could happen this week.
I know Velocity's got a big roster shuffle. H2O's got a big roster shuffle.
Two
so
teams
yeah, I mean,
there's you never know, Vintage. You never know. Although I guess two teams have to stay that, so you are correct. At least 2 will.
I'm just saying, Bentage, you said we would lose last week, and we didn't lose.
Damn, call him out, Deity.
Oh,
I'm calling him.
Yeah, before Bentage gets too upset. He's calling the Nomadas win over Titan Gaming Mox. He's still believing Los Nomadas. He thinks Stormopsy will pull it together with the game plan.
I'm a believer. I do
dude,
too.
I feel like Los Nomadas could be like 0-8, and Bentage would still vote for Los Nomadas to win.
He'd say they're still number 2 on the power rankings.
Yeah, they're still like, I'm dying on this hill. They will win the league.
Right. He's calling Soarstar over Velocity in the Battle of the 0-2s. He's calling for Big Wheel over Battle of the Bulg. We're gonna make you eat those words, my friend. But he's saying it's gonna be a hell of a banger, so he's giving us a chance at least.
Okay.
He thinks Stoners will win over NRO in another very close series.
Okay.
He thinks the God Kings will struggle with Titan's Wrath, but he thinks he'll take the win. So
He thinks we'll win.
he thinks he'll win.
Oh, okay. We'll struggle but win. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect you voting against your own team, I guess.
He said we're gonna bruise you, but you're gonna beat us.
I mean, all right.
And
He's just setting the
then-
expectations low because he's like, oh, well, if we lose, then I was right, but if we win, then haha, we
and we're
win.
better.
So I see your angle, Vintage. You want to win no matter what. I see.
Trying to get inside your head. It's a mental game.
And he's calling out
I
the
see.
Ultra Lords over H2O in the Battle of the 0 for 2s again. H2O will have, what is it, 2 or 3 new squad members this week, so we're going to have to see
They
how
have
they grabbed the Salt
the Salt Top. They have TJ
and
Jungle.
TJ. Yeah.
Right now, they are very, which I don't know what's going to happen with, I'm pretty sure, so the current lineup, which I don't know if it's going to stay this way, is the Salt Top, TJ Jungle, Akali Mid, Perfy ADC, and H2O Lethal or Bad Senna support. Also known as. That is the lineup. With that current lineup, they are very undersalaried. Like they're like 625k under, I think. So they are quite a bit below. So I don't know if they're going to make additional changes. Since they have plenty of salary too, they could make a change in ADC and support if they wanted to. Or if Akali wants to, I guess, because they brought in the Salt and TJ, so I don't think he would obviously make any more changes top and jungle.
I know it's been brought up by a lot of captains that the sub list is getting a little sparse, so hopefully we can fill that back out and give some more options to people.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know there are more people there has been more people joining off the sub list or like joining active players, and so
Yep.
obviously when you add more active players, you're replacing them with subs since you're usually dropping people that
Boo
were
will be excited to hear it. Leon is now available for full pickup.
nice.
I love it. It's exciting.
Your favorite jungler?
Yay! He's the best jungler in the league. No contest. Fight me about it.
Oh, I will.
Now, Bentage does hate us. Clearly, he doesn't believe in our winning abilities. And Bentage has faith in Snirbopsy. I respect the faith in Snirbopsy. You know, he's got that big brain draft. He's gotta have a backup plan this second week.
No, I feel like his first game draft was really good. I just think that when we said, okay, you're not going to draft like that anymore, he's like, wait, but that's our draft. That's what we wanted.
It needed to be. It just needs to be where I agree. Game 2 or Game 3, it just needed to be, instead of a Nocturne first pick, it was a Galio first pick, or they were blue side Game 3. But
oh yeah,
definitely still have plenty of talent, so we'll see how it goes. But
oh yeah, no, he did a lot of big brain things, and I think he's one of the scarier teams to draft against because Snirbopsy does do his due diligence, and he does know what to ban and what to pick and how to, and he does his research on how people play, and he was putting up a lot of vision in those games to help Taco invade me and get get prio for his team, and there's a lot of good things he did in that game. I just think that I think that we just kind of had once we got our good draft in game 2, there just wasn't enough done to prevent us from getting the exact same thing in game 3, and we just kind of repeated what we did the second game, and it was
sure.
we just, I mean, if it was another day, they could have definitely it could have been a 2-0. They could have 2-0'd us technically. They could have, they beat us the first game pretty convincingly. So it's not like we were just just so much better than them. It could have been a 2-0 for them, technically. So yeah, any week, any team can
wait
win.
till week 4.
Wait till week 4.
The Bentage is gonna tell us to wait every week until it's the finals. He's like, nah, you guys are still gonna lose.
Yeah, I think we do. We play Big Wheel week 4 too, so it'll be yeah.
Sorry,
It's,
that's when he'll pick Big Will over you guys. Don't even worry about it.
you guys gotta break their confidence. So when they play us the next week, they're
We'll try.
yeah,
Bench out here breaking Janelle's heart, but
I don't know, but you don't have Battle of the Nut anymore. It's
yeah.
back to Battle of the Bulge. So let's hope
Unfortunately,
you can.
we've actually lost power from week 2 to week 3. We now have our captain back, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Graham, enough for filling in.
Ooh.
You did great. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Sorry for the late Seer podcast. I had to toss this together pretty quickly, but I'm glad we got it in. And look forward to the games getting deity power rankings. What do you mean power rankings?
What are my power rankings?
John, what's up? What do you want, Vintage? You want your power rankings? I can tell people your power
I mean,
rankings.
oh, okay. I thought you were saying like, what are my power rankings? I'm like, I don't have power rankings right now because half the league just swatched up. Oh, y'all's right. Okay, my rankings.
Oh, our rankings?
I don't
have power
I
rankings
don't.
right now.
I mean,
number 1 is Battle of the Bulg, easy. There you go.
I mean, I think I think right now I would think the top 3 teams are probably like Bulg's team, Big Wheel, and us. But I don't actually. It's hard because like again, 3 teams have like major roster switch ups. I haven't really gotten a feel for like every team because it's like. I mean, it's like Ultra Lords didn't play with their full team week 1. Then like H2O hasn't played with their full team ever. Uh, Velocity Gaming's been like a swap every week. Titans Gaming's Mox just switched their top laner. Like there's a lot of unknown variables. Ask me again, Vintage, in like 3 weeks. Ask me in like 3 weeks, and
ask
I'll
me at
like
week 9, and I'll tell you my power rankings.
yeah. Like give it time for teams to be more cemented, and then we can get an idea.
I do agree. Big Wheel's pretty far up there. They've been looking fantastic.
Yeah, Big Wheel's good.
Go
But even last
Go
week, it's
King's
like
also
Big
very
Wheel didn't
good. I
have
wouldn't put Los Tomatos up there just because they started 0-2.
yeah, I think Los Amados can be up there. I think if
I
they're
think
maybe their team might.
they definitely can be, just as far as what you see right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like,
I mean, it might just take them longer to gel than other teams.
I would put Bull up there in the top 3, not number 5, my friend.
I mean, I mean, Vintage said we were number 10, so I mean,
But now you're number 2.
yeah, we beat 10, beat number 2. What an upset!
That's a big
Actually,
jump.
yeah, it's.
But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you all. Thanks for being here late. And we will catch you for games this coming week when we catch the VOD, since I'm pretty sure all the games are going to be on Sunday. Oh yeah, they did move Hobbit. That was a big move. They took Hobbit out of the jungle.
Yeah, but we did that way before week 1. We did that like a couple weeks before week 1.
Yeah, but Benchich didn't notice until now. Okay.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, Hobbit just had to go 15-0 Caitlyn for someone to notice.
Everyone have a good night. We love you, and give us your Twitch primes.
Good night.